Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to step into one of the most breathtaking chapters in the whole Bible, Revelation chapter 4. John the Apostle was given the vision of God's throne room in heaven, and it is wild. Flashes of lightning, thunder, a sea of glass, strange creatures covered in eyes, 24 elders with crowns. It's unlike anything we've ever seen. But here's the key. John's not just giving us a strange picture for us to puzzle over. He's giving us a glimpse of the majesty, the wonder, and the absolute awe of the God we worship. He's reminding us, and the struggling churches he was writing to, that no matter how chaotic life feels, there really is a throne in heaven and someone is sitting on it. Revelation 4:2 says, "And instantly I was in the Spirit, and I saw a throne in heaven and someone sitting on it." That means when life feels out of control, when we're afraid, when we're suffering, God still reigns. He's on the throne. And here's where it gets personal. Our hearts are meant to become a kind of throne room for God, a place where He reigns, where His presence shapes everything that we do. So, how do we do that? Let's walk through it. First, carry God with you through every part of the day. When you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing in your heart? Worry? Stress? Coffee? What if instead our first thought was, God, I want to carry you in my heart today. Colossians 3:23 says, "Whatever you do, do your work heartily, as for the Lord, rather than for men." Imagine your desk at work, or your kitchen table, or your truck becoming a little throne room where you offer your work or your meals as worship to God. That's how ordinary moments become sacred. Second, trust God's faithfulness. Revelation 4:4 describes the 24 elders sitting around the throne. Now that number symbolizes the people of God through history, the tribes of Israel and the church. In other words, all of God's people are gathered around Him. Why? Well, because He's been faithful. Think back on your life. Times you were sick and got better, times you found a job, times God forgave you. Every one of those moments is a reminder that God is faithful. And when you trust His faithfulness, your heart becomes His throne room. Third, acknowledge God's power. Revelation chapter 4 verse 5 says, "From the throne came flashes of lightning and the rumble of thunder." That's John's way of showing us God's sheer power. And then he sees the four living creatures, a lion, ox, human-faced, eagle, all of the creation worshiping God. And what do they cry out? "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God, the Almighty, the one who always was, who is, and who is still to come." When you declare God's power in your life, you're saying, God, no matter what I'm facing, you're big enough. You see it, you know it, you can handle it. That turns your heart into a throne room. Fourth, we offer God constant worship. The living creatures never stop worshiping. Day and night, they declare God's holiness. That means worship isn't just for when things are going great. Worship is a choice. You know, when your car breaks down, when your kids are fighting, when that bill comes in, even when you're disappointed. Remember, John wrote Revelation while he was in prison on a remote island, and yet for him, being in the presence of God was enough. The question is Jesus enough for you? Finally, give up the right to have things your way. In Revelation 4:10, the elders lay their crowns before the throne. Now their crowns represent achievements, power, status, and they let it all go as an act of worship. That's what it looks like to make your heart a throne room. You surrender your will to God's will. You say, God, everything I am, everything I have, I give to you. And who modeled that for us first? Jesus. He left his throne in heaven. He gave up his crown for a crown of thorns, and that's why we worship him. So, here's the summary. Carry God with you in every moment, trust his faithfulness, acknowledge his power, offer him constant worship, and then give up the right to have things your way. That's how you make your heart a throne room for God. Now, I want to leave some space for you to process this together. Your host is going to lead you in discussion, but before that, think about this. If your heart is a throne room, who's really sitting on the throne today? God or something else? All right, let's turn it over to your host.